up I just finished throwing together. Got fry in both of these little critter containers or critter carriers, and I have CPD fry in both of these. These guys are a bit older, several months old, I believe, and these are the oldest one in here is about a month, and there's a bunch of eggs in there. This is all getting pulled from my auto egg collector in this 40 breeder. This has some 6-band killies in it. I think I found maybe 7 of them in with the plants I trimmed out of their tank a while ago. And this hopefully has a couple of orange Venezuelan cories. I did find one of the last clutch of eggs I had that I thought I'd lost them all. And then I found one on the most recent batch that did survive. I gave the rest, the most recent clutches, I just gave to J-Rock so he can try to take care of it. Since I'm not having any luck and nobody's going to be here while we're at Dan's barbecue, I figured I'd set this up. So what I got is one of my little micro or small brine shrimp hatcheries, and in this soup is pulverized community flake food, Sarah fry food, golden pearls 50 to 100 micron, and some decapsulated brine shrimp eggs. And this gives me the perfect method, well, not perfect, but a good method to keep it all in suspension rather than everything settling at the bottom. Hello, Eric and Jenna. Good afternoon. It's going to be a real quick one. I just wanted to get this documented. So these are all feeding different lines in a Wi-Fi connected dosing pump. So each line has one coming in and one going out, and then each tank has one going in. So these I put the output all the way close to the bottom. Since they're cories, they stay close to the bottom. These I put them right up top because these fry like to stay right on the surface. And then these I just put in a little bit under the surface because they're not surface dwellers, but the fry tend to stay higher up in the water than the adults do. But they don't eat off the surface like the panchaks do. So you can on this you can control each one individually, and you can see the food going down. Maybe, I don't know. And it'll jet out here in a second there. Maybe. So it's pretty slow. When it there it goes. I don't know whether you guys can see that, but there's food coming out there. Might be mainly too small for those guys. I'm hoping they can get some out of it. Let me see. I think, is it this channel? Yeah, I think you can see as I prime this line, it's going to come in right above my finger here in a second. Like I said, it's pretty slow. And there it goes up, and then it's going to come into the cory tank right there, and out it goes. So like I said, this thing is Wi-Fi connected. Green light says, green light shows that it's connected to the network, and here is the app. So you can take channel 1 and turn it on or off. You don't have to hold the button for here like you do on the physical button, but you can also set timers. And there you can see the different timers. I haven't calibrated the dosing pump, so I don't know exactly how much it's going to get for a given runtime, but let's actually do this. Let's take this one and watch it go out. See, I think that is channel 3. So let's go to channel 3, turn it on, and you'll be able to see how slow it actually comes out of the tube once it's finished priming. There it goes. So more than the CO2 I would put in a tank, personally, but not gushing out by any stretch. So yeah, that's it. I've got all I have to do now is go through each one of these and create the different schedules to run them every day. I am a little concerned. I mean, I know I pulled a lot out. It only has to run for a few days, but that went down a fair amount just priming the lines. So I need to top it off again. And this was distilled water. I'm trying to, I cleaned the hatchery out really well. Hopefully sterilized it for the most part. I mean, I didn't put it in an autoclave or anything, but cleaned it really well, and I'm using distilled water in there to hopefully prevent too much mold and fungus and whatever building up in there. I'm hoping the water movement will also contribute to that. How many timers can you set? Let's see, a lot. And that's for each channel. You get this many timers. And this is a J-Bow 4-channel CM4, I think it was called, CM 4.4 or something M 4.4 dosing pump. Yeah, I'm expecting it to be pretty nasty by the time I'm done. By the time we get back. Part of the reason why I'm using distilled water is to hopefully prevent too much. And now that I look at it, I might try to shorten these lines as much as possible so that it doesn't just sit at the bottom of a loop. I'm glad I caught that, so that it's not just sitting there. I want to get these as straight as possible. I mean, there's going to be these two. I'm going to have a loop just because of the way it's set up. I can't put this above these two right now, and I don't want to put these down because cats. So there's always going to be a loop down here on these two. Well, just a short one there. I might be able to shorten this loop up a little bit, but there's still going to be food stuck in them. Yeah, I do have auto top off setups. This one has a super bright status light, so that's why I had the towel on top of it. But yeah, I've got these micro auto top off setups, but they're kind of big for feeding fry. They might do well for an auto feeding setup for adult fish, but the amount of water they push through, while not super large, is larger than I would want to dump that amount of food in there. And I don't know whether you can see, but there's the bigger of the two cories. I think this may be the oldest cory I've managed to keep alive out of the fry. And he just hid behind the sponge. And this is just a little sponge filter I threw together real quick with a tiny USB pump. I 3D printed a hose bracket to kind of bend the hose down without kinking it. And I've got the volume turned way down on that pump. So this whole setup is all run off a USB. So I've got this USB power brick. I still need to plug my co-op air pump into the USB, but this little light here and this little pump are USB pumps and lights. These guys did not do well with moving water. So I don't have anything in there, so I put more plants in there and hope and substrate, hopefully keep those guys alive. Can you rig up? Not really. I would have to have some way of moving the one input from one container to the other. I suppose I could come up with an automatic valve, two-way valve, but I don't have time for that for this weekend. So yeah, don't think I'm going to be able to flush the lines automatically yet. And even with a two-way valve, I would want to put it as high as possible up here, so that all the food would drop back down into the hatchery, and then have another line going to the fresh water for each one. But again, I have the capability of making those. I just don't have the time to do that before this weekend. I haven't had that problem yet. Of course, my cories haven't lived long enough to have that problem yet. On the coursed sponge peplin. That was basically just the only sponge I had that I could cut down and make a quick little filter out of. I've got some in my Amazon cart that I haven't actually pushed purchase on yet, with finer pores. So yeah, that's basically the setup. It's just four different containers, 3 different species of fish, 2 different ages in this case, because these guys are getting big enough that I wouldn't necessarily trust the biggest one in there with eggs and freshly hatched fry. So they're going to stay separate here. Not that I need a whole bunch. Many of the CPDs, I think I've got probably a couple hundred. I don't know whether they'll come out, but there's a lot of CPDs in there. These are orange Venezuelan cories. These came from Bex when she shut down her tanks. She brought me her fish and her plants. They've been throwing eggs out pretty regularly, and I haven't been able to raise any. That's why I gave J-Rock my most recent batch, because I'm not going to be here to be able to feed them. So I figured give somebody else a shot at getting them raised up. And he was the only one local that was willing to take them. So yeah, I gave those to him. He met him for the first time last night and gave them to him. She still has her tanks and all of her hardware. But right now the only tank she's using is, she set up a little planter for orchids to keep the humidity up for her orchids, and that's all she's using any of her tanks for right now. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. Like I said in Discord, this is going to be a really quick one. Still need to set up the timers for this, and get this topped all the way off. I want to get this all the way up because I don't think it's going to drain too much. but I'm not sure how much to run it each time yet when I'm getting food kind of stuck at the base of these of the drip line of the loop. So yeah, there's still some work to be done here. Yeah. The other method I was thinking about doing would be using a plunger, the needles, syringe, and put a syringe on a arm with a linear actuator to pull the food in and then push it back out again. Absolutely, Benjamin. I'm just hoping I can, well, I'm really wishing I could get these guys to survive. Definitely would like to keep these guys. These are the 6-band Achilles that I got from Ivy. And given the news we got from Ivy recently, I really want to keep these guys going. So I'm hoping they survive. You probably can't see, there's one right there. But I found 7 of them as I was getting them all set up in here. And then those are the Peplin and Foxy CPDs. So yep, I think that'll do it. All right, go ahead and end the stream here. Thanks for joining me, and have a good rest of your day.